we are the most competitive we have ever been. We have a real powerful combination in our opinion.
Acutely aware of the impact of the cost of living crisis on our customers and also on our colleagues, and how difficult that they're all finding it right now.
We've done a series of customer-facing initiatives with a launch of Just Essentials, which is our entry price range.
I think we are acutely aware of the pressure that many millions of ordinary people have come under.
You've just seen four heads of certain supermarkets who are attending a select committee meeting to be questioned by Labour MP Darren Jones. There's been quite a lot of talk recently about greedflation, the idea that during the cost of living crisis, supermarkets and certain utilities are using things like the pandemic and the war in the Ukraine as a cover to jack up prices, because consumers have been battered into accepting that those price increases are beyond the control of those in charge.
Whether the supermarkets have been behaving or not in their pricing. And one of the accusations is that all of your companies, I think with the exception of Morrisons, have been making increased profits, and therefore have you been doing enough to keep down the prices of the food that you supply to your customers?
We have 700 lines that we price match every week to Aldi.
In all of our stores, we have done a dropped and locked campaign where not only we've dropped the prices of products, we've also held them for a period of time.
We've spent £560 million on keeping prices low.
In particular, I know that since it started, we have donated £4 million to food banks.
Here, this is the point where Darren drills down on large increases in profit by 3 of the 4 supermarkets represented here.
And maybe you can help me, because you all run very complicated businesses. So I had a quick look at the annual accounts for each of your companies and specifically compared your performance before the COVID lockdowns to the last financial year, because of course COVID made things much more difficult to understand. And to take Tesco as an example, according to your 2018-19 annual accounts, you made a profit of £1.6 billion, and in your 21-22 accounts, you made a profit of £2.03 billion. So just as a very basic review of the accounts, you've increased your profit quite significantly there, haven't you?
I think when I look at our group profits, we are a business made out of various companies, including retail, wholesale, international business in the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary and Ireland, which we're really quite proud of, actually.
I'm sorry to cut in, but the public will just look at the numbers I've presented to you, and your group profits have gone up from before the COVID pandemic to now, from 1.6 billion to 2.03 billion. That's a bigger number. I'm sure there are lots of reasons underneath it, but essentially you've got more cash in the bank at the end of the day based on your reported accounts. And so the question is, why, given the COVID pandemic, the energy crisis, the increase in cost for your supply, the increased cost to your customers, how can it be possible that you're making hundreds of millions of pounds in additional profit?
I would reiterate the point, Mr. Chairman. I'm looking at the numbers. Our adjusted operating profit for the group in 2019 were 2.6. And
Mr. Comerford, from the perspective at ASDA, are you doing enough to help your customers right now? One of the things I've noticed is that your cost of borrowing has gone from, in 2018-2019, from £66 million to the year 21-22 to nearly £500 million. Why have your debt payments had to go up so significantly, and what does that mean for your customers?
As you say, we've had an ownership change during that time period. All I would say is, therefore, that bit has then been factored in as we've looked to our business and our accounts. And
Bartlett, coming to you next from a Sainsbury's perspective, again, the same question. I've just looked at the annual accounts. 2018-19, there was profit before tax of £239 million. 21-22, £854 million. There's been a significant increase in profit at Sainsbury's. Are you doing enough to help your customers?
We're doing absolutely everything we can to keep prices as low for customers as possible. Like Tesco and ASDA, we have a range of price.
And David Potts from Morrisons, I suppose the saving grace is your profit's gone down, not up, from 2018-19 compared to 21-22. So I can't quite put the same question to you that you're running away with excess profits. But what are you doing to help your customers with the cost of living crisis?
We have introduced a brand called Savers, which, according to Kantar last week, who comment on the industry on various matters, is the fastest growing sort of.
We're going to come back to this subject next week and examine in detail what greedflation is and how it's affecting the economy. Click here for some super sad Lee Anderson.